What's up, everybody? Yes, it is. It's that time of the week again, bitch. It's another episode of Old School, New School Comedy Podcast, broadcasting from you kind of live at the Comic Strip Live here in New York City. And with me this week is a really good friend of mine. She's my cousin. Oh, so I love this girl so much. And she's been in the game how many years now?
This is my 9th year.
Oh, the bitch is turning 9 and looking fine, biatch. You've seen this girl everywhere from the Apollo Theater to Caroline's on Broadway. That's right, bitch. She goes both races.
Okay.
Oh,
Basically.
I want to introduce to you a very funny lady, my cousin, Miss Asia Bennett.
Hi. Hello, everyone. How are
This
you?
is the first week with video, so don't mind me because I'm a little retarded. Oh, did I plug the microphone in? Who cares? Anyway. So, girl, what? So, I love this show. I love talking shop with all my comics.
Yes.
So, what brought you to stand up? What made you want to do stand up comedy in the first place?
Well, I've always wanted to do comedy. Like when I was little, I would watch the Martin show.
Martin.
Okay, how you doing? Like, so even when they had like the shenanigan contest, I actually entered into it. Like I had all my friends from the block come, and I had my outfit, my rainbow shorts, and my bubble gum socks, and the whole nine. Yes, I did. It was VHS at back in the day, so they had to have that big camera.
Oh yeah.
So it was a big deal, so I really wanted to do it. But ultimately, I decided that, after taking my second undergraduate degree, like, you know what? Yeah, I want to be a comedian because that made sense.
She spent all that money on education to make no money at her job.
Right.
Thank you. Good night.
Choices and decisions.
Choices. That's amazing. So you did a shenanigan. So how did you place in that contest?
I never heard back,
Good night.
Okay, that was like the end of that career.
Yeah, you weren't ratchet enough.
No, I don't think so.
Well, they don't know you the way I know you, girl.
Okay, they don't know me like they don't. On one side. Okay.
Well, here's your big shot. Martin, what do you think? Never mind.
How you
doing? So I love the most about you, besides everything, is that you not only do like 420 shows and dirty shows, you also play the gospel circuit.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because that is something I am totally banned from and have like a 500-yard restraining order against any Jesus thief. So anyway.
Well, there's still room. No. So, no.
Jesus. Telling jokes for Jesus. Jesus had two disciples walking to a bar.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, yeah, like I'm a preacher's kid. So that, that's the kink. So as growing up in the church, I can identify with a lot of things that happen in the church, like the behaviors and the carrying on and things. So I'm able to identify that and point that out to the people in the crowd. Like, they always say like the preacher kids are the worst ones. So tag, I'm it. And it's okay. I'm comfortable with that.
I live for your preacher kid. You know what I love about black churches more than anything? Because white churches are really stale.
Okay.
And this is a story. Listen, I was at church because, that's what Catholics do, Anything to get on my knees in front of a man with panties on, hanging on a cross. What? Who said that? Jesus. So I'm at church at St. Malachy's right here in New York City. And there's this little black child in front of me in the pew in front of me.
Okay.
He weighed probably 38 pounds, skinny little child soaking wet with his dad's jacket on.
Alrighty.
And he was trying to feel the power of the Lord. Like he was trying to feel the spirit.
Yeah.
So, you know how stale Catholics are. We're all monotone. It's like a chant. It's like Buddhism. It's like white people's Buddhism.
Leave us alone.
And the Lord be with you and also with you.
And
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It's like an auctioneer.
Right.
So, who will give me Jesus Christ? Who will give me Jesus?
Who wants salvation? Who wants salvation? Salvation.
Who? I got a Jesus cracker and a glass of wine. Jesus cracker and a glass of wine sold to those.
Last Supper.
I didn't even go to the first supper. What happened to the last one, sweetie? Anyway, so this little child was in church trying to feel the spirit. He's all,
Okay.
and I tapped him on the shoulder because I was right behind him and I felt bad. I'm like, baby. I said, baby, we don't do that here.
And up in here,
You ain't going to feel nothing in this church. You got to go up another 60 blocks just to feel something. And he started laughing. And I just said, baby, we don't do that. You got to go up another 60 blocks.
Ooh, leave y'all alone. No, because some of y'all Southern ones, I ain't gonna lie now. Hold up. Them Southern Christians.
Ooh.
Put your white Catholics, them Southern ones, they be down praying something in hell. They be woo.
Yeah, because they steal it from black folk.
Baby, well, honey, they learned it well.
They learned it with a T.
They learned us something. They learned us something well. Yes, they surely did.
They got learned and turned in one.
Baby, sure did. In the name anyhow.
Oh no, I love Southern churches. They are hilarious. The way they feel it.
Hallelujah.
Can I get an amen up in here? Can I get a man up in here? Seriously, can I get a man? Y'all a bunch of homos. Hey, I get a what? Who said that? Jesus. I'm gonna get canceled. Good, maybe I'll go viral and be somebody finally.
Okay,
Girl.
I'll be in.
You know we are the next duo. You know that, right?
I know it. They just can't.
They just can't handle us.
Right, it's a lot. All the beauty and all the, humor is like
all this degrees and all this dropouts. What? This is like Freaky Friday. Like you got like 18 master's degrees, a PhD, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Okay.
And my ass is still waiting for the ink to dry on her GED. So.
So we gotta get to this podcast. We'll laugh this whole.
This is how we are when we're together. We're just a mess.
A hot steaming mess.
So you started. Okay, let's get to serious face. Okay. Jesus. I feel like this is the worst We Are the World and audition on the planet. We are the world. Y'all just have to put up with us this week.
Michael will be done with us. Get out.
Oh, Michael Jackson. If you ever guys watch those tapes, like when Huey Lewis and the News was trying to sing it, Michael is just shady. That was the shadiest. He's just giving him that eye like, bitch, don't even try to sing, you white devil. Bitch, you want a new drug. Go back to Huey Lewis and the News, and the news is you can't sing, bitch. You know, he was roasting everybody.
You know Michael Carey.
Oh, he was shady as fuck.
Yeah, very much so. That's why you always had those shades on.
So he could give you the side eye. Because that side eye was a motherfucker.
Very much so.
Why do you think he kept having all that plastic surgery to hide all those smirks and all that? Woo, girl.
I don't want no expression anymore. I can't because
his poker face is like mine. I can't hide it. I can't hide it either. And I don't like, me, when I don't like someone, it's on.
Right, me too. I'm the same way. I'm very much.
Okay, so back to comedy. This is just a typical phone call with us.
Right, that's what we do.
So 9 years ago when you started, how was your first experience on stage? Look how I got all serious and white for a second.
And so I was right into it. So got right into character. Yeah, it was like I was a teacher assistant, and so one of my coworkers, everybody always told me, "You're so funny, you should be a comedian." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to the comedy fair right up the street." Grab me a little position. So she was like, they have like these comedy shows at this place called the Latin Lounge in Jersey City. It's no longer opening. So I went and I asked the promoter of this comedy show, Q Brooks, and I was like, I want to be a comedian. And so he was like, he says, turn around. Okay, you got the ass. I think you can do it.
Damn.
Man, shout out to Q Brooks.
But see how they do women? You got the ass. If it was a dude, all right, get on stage.
Right. Shade. But yes, so shout out to Q Brooks. And he dragged me around, him and Mimi Simpson from Chicago, every single day.
Mimi's great.
Yeah, so those two very much so kept me, started me out very much so.
Aww.
And my first time was really good on stage. At first, I performed at Marlowe's in Irvington in New Jersey, and then Footprints in Brooklyn. That's like a Caribbean spot.
Oh, yes, it is.
It was a death trap. Yeah, so I think I didn't know it was like they were sending me into like the Bear Claw.
Listen, Caribbean rooms are the greatest fucking rooms.
Love them.
When I was opening for Paul Mooney at Caroline's, this guy Sherwin Waldron used to come to the shows. And Sherwin was like, like he would like host things and produce a lot of shit. So he would come every weekend and see us. And he approached me one night and he says, I have this room in in Prospect Heights.
Okay.
Called Janelle's Caribbean.
Okay.
Would you come out? We do First Friday Funnies the first Friday of every month. I'm like, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Let's go.
So it was a summer night, and Janelle's was a Caribbean place. They had this tiny little stage. They always had bands, and they started venturing into comedy because Sherwin started producing shows there.
Okay.
So I go out there. Mind you, it's like 1,000 degrees out. It's like in the middle of like July. The hottest. Like it's like an armpit.
Right.
So we get there, and the place is packed. Everybody's dressed for the nines.
Oh,
You would have thought someone died or went to church.
Right.
So I go in there, and it's just all Caribbean.
Okay.
Like not a white soul in place. Outside there was.
Okay.
Because of the stroller jockeys gentrifying the neighborhood as we spoke. So I go on, like they had the doors open. They had those long glass doors to the sidewalk for outside and bring the nice air in. It was set. People were out. Cars were pulling up and watching the show. Me. I went up and I just started roasting. The comics were so bad that they booked, and I had to let them have it.
Oh, as you should.
So a bitch let them have it, and I destroyed that place.
You ate.
And we ate, honey.
Not even.
They didn't pay you. They paid you in food, honey.
Oh, get out of here.
After that show, it was 8 pounds heavier.
Like a little extra weight when they want.
But when Caribbean rooms love you, they love you, and when they don't love you, they will let a bitch know straight up. So you always know where you stand.
Right.
In a Caribbean room. So that's a really great place for you to start.
Yes.
Because it'll teach you, okay, that wasn't funny. Get your shit together.
Right. So it just so happened that I actually did well. And
Of course you did.
Right. And so I shocked myself because it was like really a rough crowd. I mean, they're banging on the bars. It was like animated. So it wasn't just like, it's not like we're sitting there watching.
It's not cute like white people go.
No, it's very.
They start moving furniture around. They paint. They knock walls out. Yeah,
it was a lot going on.
Honey, babies being delivered.
Honey,
child. All kind of shit happened. When that happens, you're doing good.
Right. And so once I did that well, it was like, okay, you can go on, Asia. This is for you. Yeah, I can succeed now. Yeah,
good.
That was it.
All right. So you have also from all your shows and working like the gospel circuit and the black circuit to the white circuits, that you actually connected up with Bob Sumner.
Yes.
And Bob Sumner, for those who don't know, he's king.
Yeah, Bob Sumner is
Def Jam.
Yes, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
Right, that produced helped produce Def Jam.
Him and Russell Simmons.
Produced Def Comedy Jam. So along my journey, like I would be out all the time, and he saw me perform, and then he saw me perform like maybe a few more times, and he was like, "You got it, whatever it is." And so I was always out in the circuit grinding so hard, like, and we followed each other on Facebook, and he became a fan of mine and booked me to do Apollo. So I was like super excited, and I was that was actually on the 6th-year anniversary of my comedy-versary. Yeah, so I was super excited to have done that. So it was dope. And shout out to Bob Sumner, really, really dope.
Totally. I haven't even done the Apollo. You'd think I would have after all my years with Mooney. Never done the Apollo. I should be at the Apollo, girl.
Oh man, that has to happen.
Yeah, hello.
She needs to see.
No, I need to be at the Apollo.
Period. That's on period.
Right?
Period.
Hello.
Period.
So, yeah, I've never done the Apollo. I feel like I have, opening for Paul Mooney for 12 years.
You've been here so many times, child. You done rubbed that
Them
thing.
same people, right? I should host the Apollo.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Hey.
Fuck Steve Harvey.
You would be such a phenomenal host. I can see it.
Because I will roast I have no fear.
None. She's coming for the child, everything.
I'm coming for the funny.
The funny.
And if you ain't ready, you need to get ready.
You have to get
ready. But that's amazing. So how was the Apollo? What was that like for you?
It was like a dream come true. Like, they have your name on the marquee and you're just feeling like, oh.
Like you made it.
Right.
That's black made it.
That's black made it. That is like, that's like winning the lottery. Okay.
Exactly.
So it's like, I felt very like blessed to have like accomplished that because that was like
so proud of you.
Thank you.
When I saw that, I was like, yes, my girl, my cousin. Yes.
But it was like, you go in there and they also said, they let us know that, Beyonce never had her name on the marquee yet. So I did that before Beyonce, girl. I love you, B. Anywho, shout out to Beehive. But yeah, so
5, 4, I'm too fucking busy. That's my technique.
that's my. I'm sorry. I started
Don't even act
talking.
like
I'm sorry.
Look
I
at me
was
being
sorry.
all trying to be all blending.
But yeah, so it was really dope, like just to be in Apollo itself, to see all the history and all
Yeah.
the talent. It's just
Oh,
awesome.
all the names that came out of there from nothing, man. That
Oh my
place
God.
made so many careers and killed a lot of them too.
Yeah, Bajas from that stage, that Sandman was fierce, honey.
Honey,
Shoot your whole
when
drink
Omar
down.
would tap your ass off that stage,
Honey,
ciao, bye.
you know what time it was.
It's
Excellent.
time to leave. I wish they had a trap door. They just open it up and watch you fall. That shit would be hilarious.
I would love for that. I would
Right? We're so shady.
No.
But so you at 9 years, so you've basically grown up. Like I'm coming up on 28 years.
Wow, you don't even look 28.
I know, girl.
The girl needs some tips. The girls
Right.
need tips.
Okay, you need just the tip.
Okay.
So you've basically grown up in the tech age of
Right.
stand-up, where TikTok and Instagram kind of makes or breaks your career.
Right.
And in my day, back when I was your age,
Stop now.
we got the light with a candle. It wasn't even. That's why we had somebody come up and take you off stage. 'Cause we didn't have any electricity.
The oil for your lamp.
Yeah, hello. That was my own spotlight. I had to hold my lantern. But it was just like, we didn't have that. So like in my day, you had to be good to get
Right.
booked. The word got out. You were this, you were
Right.
that. This bitch is funny. This
Right.
dude is a monster. That's how we got booked, was word of mouth.
Right.
Now it's how many followers do you have?
That's
so how are you handling this? Is this working for you? Is it working against you? Or
Well, you see, I came in on that era, but my age is not of that era.
right.
And then I got kind of busy because while I started comedy, it's like I've never been a full-time comic.
Right.
So that's another aspect too. I worked, and then
Right.
I went to school and got my master's and postmaster's degree while doing comedy. So that's another. She was busy. So when I was focusing on school, I just didn't have the time to focus on like the
Right.
social media aspect. So now, as I'm stepping back and looking at the game for what it is now, it's like, yeah, it's giving posted.
Yep.
It's giving you need followers, and it's a new day and age. And
Yep.
it doesn't mean that the talent is there. No.
Nope.
No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade.
Nope. All tea, all shade for me. And you can have as much pink lemonade as you want, because I will roast everybody that sucks with 1 million followers.
I know she will.
I don't give a fuck. I am Paul Mooney's protege.
Period.
I am Paul Mooney made my voice.
Yeah.
Not give a fuck and,
Right.
and tell people straight up. It's a bad thing,
Right.
but it's also a good thing.
Right.
In
It's
the
necessary.
sense, it's necessary because some people need to know.
It is
And
necessary.
I'm not going to bow down and kiss your ass because you have 500,000 followers and I
Right.
have 6.
Right.
I'm
Right.
sorry, but okay, you headline. You want a headline? So this is me. Oh, you want some rope? You're gonna hang yourself? Go ahead, you headline, and I'll open for you, and I bury them.
Good luck with that.
Here's a shovel. You're gonna need it because all that dirt that's gonna be piled on you when I bury you, bitch, you're gonna need it to get out. And here's a straw to breathe.
But see, that's the thing between, I feel like, stand-up comics and stand-up comedians and then social medians. Like there's a
Oh, I
difference.
like that term, social medians. I like.
Totally.
You better work, girl. You better patent that. That's a great term, social medians.
And that's what I like.
We're gonna name this episode that.
Okay. And that's why I like to liken those that do the comedians that do it on social media, like Forrest. And I don't take away from their craft because I'm quite sure it takes a lot to get the followers. And there's a science to that.
It's a full-time job to be
It's
a
a
social
technique to
median.
that.
It's seriously, and
It's a technique to that.
It's like when I was coming up, the comics that weren't that good, that were mediocre.
Right.
We didn't have social media. We didn't have internet then.
Right.
So those are the ones that were really great at making phone calls. Remember those things, phone
Right,
calls?
pranks.
When you would call agents and managers to come see my show.
Oh, okay.
And you would walk into their office with a manila envelope with your tape,
Okay.
your headshot, and your resume, and you would
Okay.
set it down and say, I want you to represent me. Will you look at my tape? Those were the old days. And then the old days, we had to send our tapes to bookers at the clubs, and the bookers would watch it. and see if you were, bookable or not. If
Right.
they could, if they wanted to book you or not. Now it's just links. It's great. The part I love now is everything is online.
Right,
So you could just
digital.
send them a link and it's done.
Right.
But at the same time, all they care about is how many followers do you have? Are you going to sell out the club?
Right.
Because that's all they care about. Now, I remember in 2008, 2009, when Ashton Kutcher was the first person on Twitter
Okay.
to get 1 million followers. And everybody
Right.
thought that was a lot.
Right.
That was then because everything was still new.
Right.
So the comedy clubs here started going, well, we're not really spending money on marketing because it was still like we're still coming out of that doldrum of those dark days of comedy.
Right.
So they were looking for ways to market the clubs and the comedians without spending money. And the only clubs that were really spending money in New York was the Cellar and Caroline's on Broadway.
Okay.
So their head of PR, Greg Charles, who I'm dying to get on this show, but he hates podcasts
Okay.
they were connected with Hot 97 and a bunch of shows on Sirius, so they would get their comics for the weekend on there, and that's how they marketed because it was a cross promotion kind of thing.
Okay.
So Caroline had a great relationship, still does, with Sirius and with Hot 97 and all that, and
Right.
so she's got amazing relationships, so she's able to do that without spending too much money on marketing.
Okay.
So a lot of these other clubs started going, well, if they have followers, let's book them because then their
Right.
followers will come to the club. So then the club started shifting around 2009, 10
Okay.
with how many followers do you have? And then the comics got hip to it and started buying followers. And so they'd get booked. There'd be nobody in the seats. Yeah,
Right.
they're all bots. And then
Right.
they start looking at views and likes.
Right.
Are you really active on here?
Right.
So it became that, and then it just ballooned into what it is now.
Right.
So now it's all about like these comics that completely built their career online.
Right.
And then they get on stage in person and they fold because
Right.
they don't have the chops. It's
Right.
like, but it's a different skill. I don't
Right.
have that because I'm turning 53 in a month. So, black don't crack. So,
Yeah.
so it's hard. I'm still learning and and a lot of times this is bad. A lot of times I forget about social media,
Right.
and I'm not thinking about it because I'm working on jokes. I'm writing, I'm doing spots, I'm
Right.
building a new album right
Right.
now, my second album. So I'm not even
Alright.
thinking, it's like, oh, I need to start filming my sets. This is how I am,
Me too.
and I forget to I record everything audio
Okay.
because I go over notes. Those are
Right.
my notes. So, but I never think record your set, you idiot. And then, it's like, I always forget. So
Right.
like today, I forgot my tripod. I had to use yours because, I'm a little, but anyway, so someone, and you're in that weird stage because you're what, 40?
Right. I'm in my mid 40s. 45.
Right. Yeah, so she's 45. So, girl, you better work, hunty. So you didn't really grow up in that either.
That's why I said I came in a game where like I'm of the age of like not supposed to be in it, and I was in school and busy to even focus on that.
Right.
And so so it's like I'm learning, and when I was in school, I kind of got forced to kind of really pay attention
Sure.
to technology. Period.
Yep.
Because I was like definitely a Tyrannosaurus. If you were like,
Oh, honey.
I'm definitely a little prehistoric, a little somewhere rolling around.
Oh, honey, I'm a piece of stone from the prehistoric. I'm like Fred Flintstone's
I'm about to say,
tire
I'm-
that chipped and had to get replaced.
Right, I was like Betty's friend, but I worked where the ribs was, like, and when they made the barbecue ribs, y'all didn't see that.
I worked at the rock quarry. So do you find it harder to get booked because you're not that social media type? I'm a big comic online thing.
Right.
Are you having problems with that at all?
I'm not actually like, because my career is like I haven't done comedy clubs like that. Far as trying to get booked in comedy clubs, I'm like my name is kind of still like old school. It's like I get
Right.
booked by my name, like
Right.
from promoters that have seen me. Like if I
Right.
go do a show, they'll see me and I get paid to do shows. And I was really, really busy, like a lot when I
Yep.
first started.
Yep.
But it got to be too much for me actually. Like you have to learn how to, balance,
Yeah.
or else you'll really burn out. So
Yep.
I had to stop doing as many shows. I purposely slowed down to give myself room to do the things I need to do in self-care.
Yeah.
As a psychologist, I definitely
But you also have to
advise
live,
that.
yeah. And the fact is too, you have to live life to gain experience so you can talk about it on stage. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, getting on stage every night's fun. It's
Right.
great, and especially in the city, it's easy because you did 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 10
Right.
minutes here. You could do a few spots in a night, but
Right.
it's like at the same time, I knew comics that were doing 4, 5, 6 spots a night,
Right.
and they weren't growing because they were burning out. And it's like
Right.
now you're phoning it in.
Right.
Now, because your central nervous system is shot, because you've been on all night, going up, down, up, down, up,
Right.
down, that you're going to start phoning it in after a
Right.
while. And for me, I can do a few spots in the night because they're only 10 minutes. It takes me 20 minutes to say hello to an audience. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So like I do 30 in my sleep.
Right,
Like
right,
that's
right,
just like, oh,
right.
that's like a quick spot.
Right.
And it's just like, so, which is fine. I've been doing it a long time. It's in my,
Yeah.
I have that muscle memory, but
That's
at the
that
same
queen.
yeah, but it's also at the same time I watch these new jacks doing it. Yeah, Dave Attell used to do that 5, 6 spots a night, 7 spots, whatever. That's great. But after a while, you get burnt out and your
Right.
brain shuts off, and then you're not growing. You're just doing the same because you're just
You're on
trying
a
to get
hamster
through
wheel
it.
now.
Yeah, you're just trying to get
Right.
through
And
it.
that's just the thing I noticed that, because I came in, more experience as a senior age wise, and then, coming in, just looking at the game from all perspectives, like what do I
Right.
need to do? How do I? So when I started my comedy career, I was a teacher assistant. So like you were saying, content, like it gives you things to talk about. So that's why I went to school to get my master's and postmaster's. I needed more material, basically.
Yeah. Oh, brr. But also too, the good thing about being a teacher's assistant and stuff and a psychologist,
Right.
you're always on stage.
Right.
So even though you're not on stage,
Right.
you're still performing
Absolutely.
for the kids in the classroom.
And they're performing for you.
Yeah,
These little ones got things.
They're
to do.
heckling, you're
Right, right.
roasting.
They don't stop.
You got to keep them in line. You got to
Always.
lead the class. You got to take them on a journey for an hour. You're doing an hour.
Right.
Easy.
Easy.
And it's just like it's a great experience, especially any public speaking stuff.
Right.
It's just being able to go up there raw. And
Right.
comedy is the rawest form of entertainment because it's just us and what we think is funny.
Right.
And then you got to make a whole room full of people laugh as opposed to hiding behind a song or a part in a play or a
Right.
movie. You're not being yourself. So if you get rejected, it's not you, it's the character.
Right. And that's what I think too. A lot of people fail to realize it's an art form, to
Oh, yeah.
comedy,
It's a skill. It's
It's
an
a
art
skill
form.
set.
You either have it or you don't.
Right. I mean, and there's so many different intricacies that go into before you go on stage, between the writing, between the rehearsing, between the, practicing it, going to different rooms and practicing your material.
Yep.
And then delivering it. So it's a lot.
Oh, hell yeah. And the
Right.
fact, too, it's like, and everybody goes, you have to write one joke a day or I have to write every day. Well, does that work for you? If it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Like for me, I write so randomly that I do a lot of my writing, believe it or not, in the shower because there's no distraction.
Right.
Just you in the water, and all of a sudden I will be doing bits. Like I'll be on stage at a theater and I'm doing bits and I can hear the laughs and I know when things are hitting. I'm like, oh, that's the tag I've been looking for. That's the direction that's the premise. That's the angle. Oh my God, I do it all in the shower. Or if I'm walking or if I'm lifting weights, something will strike me. But it's like odd times. So then I got to write it down on my phone or whatever, or do a voice memo to myself.
Right.
And, but I also do a lot of writing on the phone with Teddy Smith. And those of you who
Oh,
don't
me
know, you
too.
need to look up Teddy Smith. He's my best friend.
Hilarious.
First of all, he's my best friend in the whole world, but one of the greatest comics in New York City.
Yes.
And he's basically Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor if they had a baby. And he's
Hilarious.
just brilliant. He's so brilliant. And he's so different than I am. Like I'm a roaster, I'm a ranter.
Right.
I call people out, like I have no fear. He's more of a storyteller. He's emotional. He talks about religion and race and marriage and like not like typical family stuff,
Right.
but like deep stuff, like the philosophy behind everything. Like he gets really deep and fucking hysterical. My God, he's so brilliant. So it's nice. I bounce off of him things and he goes, write that down, homie, write that down. And,
Right.
but it's nice to have someone that doesn't do what I do
Right.
give me feedback. And then he is so easy to write for. Like even when I was working with Paul Mooney, he was so easy to write for because I knew that man inside out and
Right.
backwards. So I would think of shit. Nope, that's not a Christy joke. That's a Mooney joke. And then I would go to we get to Caroline's. I go, Mooney, I have a joke.
Okay.
This is this. And he goes, oh, I'm stealing that. And I'm like, you're not stealing it. I'm giving it to you, bro.
Right.
Like, but he would always, like, if he was so easy to write for because I knew him. Same with Teddy. He's so easy to write for because he doesn't do what I do and I don't do that stuff.
Right.
So for me, I can't pull that off because I'm not a storyteller. I don't give a shit about family stuff.
Right.
I don't have a connection to it, but I am an observationist.
Right.
I'm a current events person.
Right.
I'm a behavioralist.
Right.
I social, like social justice, all that socialize, anything
Right.
in the current events in the environment of our like social climate.
Right.
I'm all about it.
Right.
But I'm just not that deep about that stuff because that's personal stuff, and I have a hard time connecting to that. So I'm all retarded with that shit.
Well,
but so for him, he's easy to write for, but we don't write conventionally. So what is your writing style like for you? What works for you?
It has to be in moments. Like it's sporadic. Something happens, and I'm
Right.
like, only to me. So it's like things that have happened where I know that this needs to be on stage.
Yes,
So
and
it'd
you
be
know that
moments,
shit,
right? And you just know it in those moments, like this is material,
Yep,
and you write it down,
and you
I write-
feel it.
and you feel it, and you can see it. You can see, you can start setting it up, and you already, just start getting to work on it, put in your notes, and then I'll go, look at it later on and figure out what I need to punch it out. Like,
Of course.
Oh
yeah. You got to find put your voice on it, put your twang,
Right.
how to like punch it up, exaggerate this, twist this around.
And I'm like a physical comic.
Yes,
so-
you are. You
yes.
really are.
So I love being very animated on stage. It's very hard for me to sit still. I don't know if it's the ADHD or physical, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't have ADHD, but I love tumbling around the stage and flying around. And,
Right. I love to be very active on the stage.
Yeah.
It's like I want to,
like to pick things
I
up.
I feel like an artist. I like to visually like put people like into the scene, like
Yeah.
like onto the
yeah,
framework of what
of
I'm
course.
doing.
You like to bring your thoughts to life.
Right.
No, but you're so funny though. I just absolutely
Yeah.
adore you. And I remember
Wow, she's a pisser.
no, when we first met. How many years ago was that?
Because
that was the old-
started.
It was when you first. Yeah, because we used to do. Me, Marla Schultz, and Gina Savage used to do a show at Broadway Comedy Club once a month called Broadly Funny. And that was an all-female stand-up show that we did once a month, and it ran at Broadway for like 7 or 8 years. We did
Wow.
it. It was a long time, and it was very successful, and it was really fun. I always closed it, and it was.
And did she ever close it?
And people would just be circling. And that show, coming off of Paul Mooney, after we separated and went our separate ways, after Caroline's was over, Paul started getting really sick and the crazies around him pushed me out of his life. So I basically had to start over from scratch.
Right.
Because I was with him for so many years, which was a blessing.
Right.
But it took me out of the whole circuit. So I had to reintroduce myself.
Right.
So I did the Jerry Seinfeld and Comedian, that documentary he did when he went on with nothing.
Right.
I threw all my material away.
Okay.
And I started from scratch.
Nice.
And I just started rebuilding my whole set, rebuilding myself, my character, to see what layers were coming off. Because
Right.
I was like, I'm going to rebirth. Why not just redo everything?
Yes.
And let's just really see what's in there.
Thank you.
So I was doing Broadly Funny, which that show kind of saved my life.
All right.
And with Marla and Gina, they kind of saved my life.
It was a good show.
It was a great show. And
phenomenal.
I used that show to peel and build and peel and build. And then you were on one of the shows. This was years ago. It had to be like 7, 8 years
Yeah,
ago.
about 7, 8 years ago.
Yep. You were, and I was like, that's my cousin.
I was like, cousin, and like, when it was real, like
we hadn't seen each other in like 20 years. My cousin. I'm like we were bonded instantly.
Where you been, girl?
Okay. Oh. So, I always like to talk about, before we wrap it up, who are your influences? Like, what comics really influenced you? Like, what would you if you could say your style was what?
Okay.
Who were your influences in stand-up?
Okay, I would like to say, I love physical comics, so I like Martin Lawrence. Martin was one of my favorites.
Martin's one of the greatest, and he's really underrated.
He's very underrated. I like him on stage. I like that he's physical, and he to me is just like. And Bernie Mac. I like the rawness of Bernie Mac. You know, Bernie, rest in peace. Bernie was like just
one of my favorites.
And it's just so many. I mean, I love from Cat Williams to like
Cat Williams. I love
Eddie Griffith. Like a lot of energy on stage.
I've known Eddie for years.
Yes,
100 years.
I love the energy on stage. So it's a lot of like I love like those comics. Basically, those are my top comics.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, if Asia Bennett right now was offered a sitcom,
okay,
what would your sitcom be? Who are you?
I would probably like to be.
And then I'll tell you what I think.
I think I would like to play a school psychologist. I would like to play a school psychologist in my sitcom.
See, and that's what I see you as, like a school psychologist dealing with all the idiots and all the trials and tribulations. These kids, look at me using big white words, trials and tribulation, girl. Okay. I don't know who tribulations is, but congratulations to you, girl.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, but I totally see you as a school psychologist and all the crazy shit.
And just dealing with like mental disorders. Like, and I think like a lot of times, like parents, there's so many children out there that have like disorders and stuff. So we need to kind of like understand what's going on and like, you know, as a society and just make awareness of it. That's all.
Yeah. And just get more involved in that there's more layers than you say, oh, that person's mentally ill.
Right.
No, there's layers to it. There's environmental layers. There's genetic layers.
Yes.
There's, you know, it's so much.
The factors go on that contribute to
everything.
To everything. So it's a matter of just getting to it. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a great show for me.
That would be a really great show for you. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I always wrap up the show with, these are my two favorite questions to ask comics because it's one of my favorite things because there's always bits that there's comics that I'm like, fuck, I wish I'd written it. Damn it. Like, it's so good. Mm-hmm. So I always ask, is there a bit a comedian has done that you went, God damn it, I wish I had written that. That was brilliant. What bit is that?
Of course, as I said, Martin is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be like when he talk about like slavery, like we gonna go back to Africa. I just think that bit is just hilarious.
Do you know any of it by heart?
I don't know it by heart. I just think the bit is just hilarious.
Well, everything Martin did was hilarious. He had his stuff about marriage and
yes,
oh my God, the relationship stuff used to wear me out.
Down. Like he would wear you down when it came to relationships.
Oh, that shit was so funny.
Like when he's talking about how you leave somebody that got that much money, like it's called household. They say you're going to leave them, you walk out, and you come back later on.
Oh, hilarious. Oh, my God, that's so funny. And then my other favorite question is, because I spent many years opening for Paul Mooney, and Paul's big closers were street jokes. Okay. Paul loved a street joke. Okay. And then he would tell about 4 or 5 of them as his closer that he loved, but then he would Mooney-ize them. Like he put a little Mooney twist to them and just destroy the room. And those of you who don't know, first of all, I'm going to roast your motherfucking ass. This bitch texted me this morning, what's a street joke? I almost punched her through the phone. I was going to punch your fucking weave through the phone. Like, bitch, how do you not know a street joke? So anyway, that's so funny. You're not, the girl I had on last week didn't know either, and I had to roast that bitch too. So don't worry. She's adorable, but I'm like, girl, you need to get out of your house more, girl. But so I always ask, because Mooney was so great at telling street jokes, and us comics too. When we're in the green room, we're on the road, we sit there and just tell street jokes all night and just make each other laugh. So, what is your go-to street joke that you like to tell?
Okay, I would like to say,
don't fuck it up. Your dad will be mad.
He's gonna be so mad at me if I get it myself. I had to borrow this one. Shut up, Bob. Okay. What does no one wants to call? What is okay? What starts with the N and an R that nobody wants to call or should call a black person?
An N and an R?
Right, that nobody should or wants to call a black person.
I don't know.
A neighbor.
Good night. You are racist, and this show is over. I'm offended. I'm triggered by that joke because black people are your neighbors, okay? It's okay.
It's coming from a black person.
I know, I'm teasing. Look at me. I just love saying triggered. It's like so stupid. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's fucking hilarious. It's so, as Mooney would say, oh, that's too real, homie. It's too real, homie.
That was too much.
But that's hilarious.
Thanks,
Asia, I fucking love you.
I love you more, ho. Such a cunt.
You fucking douchebag. You rotten twat. I fucking love you, you dirty bitch.
Stale tampon.
Oh, you stale biscuit. You
Popeyes.
okay? You 99-cent biscuit from Red Lobster. Red Lobster. Motherfuckers, only you guys can make red 2 syllables. Red Lobster. Bitch. I'm dying. Red Lobster. Oh, so I want everybody to know who you are. So tell us where they can find you on all the Insta-medias.
Okay, now, if you want to follow me, Miss Asia Bennett, you can go on Instagram, AJAB Laughs, LAUGHS.
This bitch can't even spell her.
Shut up. It's the regular way. And then if you go to
It's not the black way.
not the black way, it's the regular way. Okay.
The white way.
And if you go to YouTube, please subscribe to Asia Bennett Comedy TV. All right, check me out. It's going to be some good stuff. And I also have Christy Miller on my first episode, September 10th, airing. So it's going to be cute. Check us out.
And what's the name of that show, darling?
It's called Inside Jokes.
Yes, I did our very first episode, Inside Jokes with Asia Bennett. So that's going to be fun. It was a lot of fun filming that.
So much fun.
And so that's coming September 10th. Don't forget to follow her. And don't forget to follow us here at Old School, New School Comedy on Instagram. And you can follow us, the podcast on my YouTube playlist at Christy Miller Comedy, my channel. And you can follow me at Christy Miller Comedy everywhere. So please like, subscribe, and share this show. And I love you, girl.
Love you more.
And we will see you bitches next week. Look at us doing video. Look, ma, no hands. Bye.
Bye.